Call the meeting back to order. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by R. Hergert. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby returns to open session of Council at 7:06 p.m. Any discussion on that motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Thank you. I will say that the two matters that we went into closed session was to discuss the police contract with Municipality of the Township of Chatsworth, and at a future date, that proposal will be presented to the Municipality of Chatsworth, or Township of Chatsworth. Municipality of West Grey will give it to the Police Services Board, will give it to the Township of Chatsworth. The other one was, the other piece in closed session was a property standards complaint that was dealt with by council. Other than that, those were the only two items that went into closed session, and those were the only two items discussed. All right, public meetings. We have no public meetings this evening. Consent agenda is next on the agenda. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by R. Hergert. Be resolved that items A1 to B1 inclusive contained in Part 1 consent agenda be adopted as printed, and further that authorization be given for actions to be taken as may be necessary to give effect to the recommendations contained therein. Any comments on that motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried.
I did have a, sorry. I
There was
wanted to pull C1. I have it right here.
It was only A1 to B1.
Oh.
C1,
Sorry, you did just pull up from the agenda.
This C1 here is what I want to pull.
He wants to pull it up for discussion.
Miscellaneous correspondence, I want to pull.
yeah, that's in the,
Yeah.
yep.
Needs a majority vote for that.
So to pull that one on the C1,
Yes.
Bev is moving to pull that. I would need majority, two-thirds majority, right, Mark?
Majority.
Procedural, majority. All those in favor of pulling C1?
Oh, sorry.
You're going to vote for it yourself. 1, 2, 3. Mr. Bell, is your finger up? 4? All right. I will give that is the majority. Okay, so that'll be pulled and can be be appropriate under new business, Bev. All right? Okay. Now, that brings us down then to communications from Mayor and Council. Any council members have any communications? Anything you've done in the last couple of weeks? Oh, not much going on. Doug?
Sure. A couple of things that have happened over the little while, and maybe some of our staff would mention it, but household hazardous waste was last May 12th, Saturday, and I think it was fairly successful. I dropped off some things there, and I believe our Steve had said that the numbers maybe were down a bit, but still pretty successful day. Also, when the past Saturday, the 19th, we had a good exchange day, and I think it was fairly successful. At least I was able to get rid of some stuff at the end of the road. So people were putting things out, and hopefully they ended up with some use rather than back in our landfill. So that was, I think, a good thing across West Grey. And just to mention that this Thursday, for those that want to take part, there's the soccer pitch. The soccer club is having a dedication for the field on Thursday night at 6:30 to dedicate to make note of a couple of individuals that were quite involved with the creating of the soccer pitch years and years ago. So those are all I have at this point.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Anyone else? We'll say that the Alzheimer's Walk was last Saturday at Sulphur Springs. Was able to be there and bring greetings. Great day for it, and again, excellent participation by the community at large, and I'm going to use that quite a few from the municipality to the west of us had come into West Grey to participate as well too, so very good day. one thing, if you haven't got your tickets upcoming, Saturday, of course, is the Newstead Lions Lobster Fest. Also have crab and steak. You may be a little tight on finding tickets, but I heard at Granny's they're scalping them just at twice the price, so you're okay. I think if you did contact some of the Lions Club members, there may be still a few available in talking to a few of the Newstead Lions, but they are very close, and by Friday they probably will be sold out, as they always are. A great function there. If you have the time, the availability to be there, I would highly recommend it for that coming up. One other thing, Bev, and future things, the Elmwood Firemen have their breakfast on June the 2nd, I believe it is. And also
8 a.m.
8 a.m. they start that. The West Grey Durham Lions, I think, starts a golf tournament at about 11 o'clock that day, so June 2nd. And the Grey Highlands 50th reunion is also into the evening, so it'll be a full day of celebration for some people's birthdays on that day. Rebecca, one person's birthday in particular.
So I was,
Pull
there
it.
we go, okay.
There you go.
So I was able to attend a fundraiser for the Air Cadets. They were in Ayton, and the Germania was hosting the internal group of other insurance providers, and the Air Cadets was able to fundraise for that, so that was a great day. That was last week. The Durham Horticulture had their plant sale, very successful this last week. They have an herb fair coming up on June 9th. Again, Newstead Lions and their Lobster Fest, looking forward to it this weekend. Also, June 2nd, Newstead has their townwide garage sale, so that's what I have.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other communications, any promotion of any fundraising activities? One more?
One last.
One more,
Catch the
Rebecca.
Ace continues. Dun, dun, dun.
I already have my tickets for, matter of fact, I've had tickets for everyone. I'm just expecting whoever the Lions member is that pulls that ticket out next week that I have the ace. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, good function, and always some good entertainment and whatnot on Sunday afternoon at the Durham Legion where they host that. So good for them. And speaking of the Durham Lions Club, West Grey Durham Lions, we'll go down to delegations, and I welcome Pat. You going to make, well, I see a number of the executive here for that, but Pat Morton on behalf of the, as I said, the West Grey Durham Lions Club, and some of their proposals or activities around the Durham Walkway Bridge. Pat, it is yours. There's a gray button on that microphone. Adam,
Got it.
there you go.
I'm on fire. There you
Now
go.
you are lit and ready to go.
All right. Well, as the mayor said, I'm Pat Morton, and I'm the first vice president of the West Grey Durham Lions Club, and I'm here with the other members of our executive, Ron McIntyre, Deb Elliott, and Maureen Belanger, our president. And we're really, really pleased to be here tonight to talk about a project that we'd like to propose to you. And first of all, before I start, I want to thank all of you for believing, as the original group led by Greta Kennedy and Betty Krause did in 1984, when the railway spur line was closed and put up for salvage, that the Trestle Bridge was an integral part of the history, memories, and life of Durham. that preserving it as a walking bridge would be a significant asset for economic development, drawing people downtown, and maintaining an urban green space. So I compliment you on knowing that and following such a fine legacy. I spent 2.5 hours on the phone the other night with Greta Kennedy, learning tons about 1984 and the railroad, and I'm going to visit her again because I found it fascinating. And like that original committee, who I know would have been Lions Club members had there been a Lions Club in those days, thank goodness there was such a group then, and we are a group now, of dedicated community volunteers who would like to honor your tremendous investment in the new Heritage Walking Bridge by restoring and reviving the parklands at the entrance from Garifaxa Street. And fortunately for us today as a committee, unlike Greta and Betty Krause, or Betty Miller, you might know, they had to drag the mayor kicking and screaming into their project. And I'm glad to say that we probably won't, I'm assuming we won't have that problem as a committee. So the West Grey Durham's Lions is celebrating 10 years of service to West Grey Durham this year, and Lions Canada are celebrating their centennial. We are proud of our thousands of hours of volunteering and community service and financial contribution of approximately $100,000 in those 10 years to West Grey. This mostly in Durham. This project will be our largest ever as part of the Lions Club Legacy Canada Legacy Program to mark our 10-year anniversary and the centennial of Lions in Canada. Our idea is enhancing the park itself to invite people taking full advantage of the beauty of the bridge. We want to engage our whole community to have a stake in making this project something we can all be proud of. On the pictures here, maybe I'll show you this. This is the concept plan, which is upside down. And you're welcome to come and have a look at it. It's just a concept of how we will revise the park and the structure that's there, all of which are most of it is surviving from 1984. And this concept is one we hope to make into a safer, lower maintenance park, mostly with perennial plantings and pollinators, that will be a welcoming space for those who live and drive through Durham. This project of ours that we're proposing to you aligns clearly with your strategic plan in economic development, green space, and making the urban core more attractive. We have been really, really grateful for working with your staff team, almost for a year now in discussing this project. So Laura, Brent, and Carrie, along with Councillor Hergert, have been working monthly, I think now, with a group of Lions to look at a set of plans that we could all agree on, that made sense both from a beauty, from a maintenance, and a financial perspective. And we so appreciate our working relationship that we've established now. We're grateful that Laura Johnson has made herself accessible and will continue to act as our point person with the municipality, and that Councillor Hergert has already created a fundraiser, and I know is behind other ones, along with Doug Hutchison from the BIA, and we really appreciate that. We want to encourage local involvement. So we've already been to the Legion and asked them, and they have agreed to pay for a flagpole, a lovely flagpole, to be purchased and installed in the park itself. And we certainly appreciate the municipal staff seeing that the Christmas tree was not healthy, and they got out ahead of that and approached Don and Susan Tremble and asked them if they would purchase a new tree. Now, as many as you may know, that Don and Susan are active Lions, and I spoke to both Don and Susan, and they were in agreement, and we hope you would agree as well, that we are going to, in this notion of getting people engaged, we're going to approach the local churches and ask them to contribute towards the Christmas tree, and Don and Susan will make a contribution in a different way, just so that we can. It's not about getting the money from the churches, it's just about having them feel that that's their Christmas tree. During this project, we're proposing that we'll continue to work with the committee from the municipality, and that the people who maintain our parks and do a wonderful job will continue to do that before and after the project. Police Chief Rob Martin has had an opportunity to review the plans and has stated that our idea for the shelter and plantings were sound from a safety perspective, and he's quite content with the plans. The Lions will develop a fundraising plan involving commemorative bricks so the community can own a piece of this wonderful project. And we'll give you the opportunity to do that as well, and my colleague Deb's going to hand that out. And we appreciate that the municipality will give charitable receipts to people who donate. We will also provide another way for people to donate and to be honored on a plaque that says to the community members of Durham. The fundraising plan will be publicly launched by late summer. We intend to reapply to the Trillium Foundation and to have approached other community groups to help us. We are thrilled that the BIA is planning their fundraiser this summer in support of this project. And as usual, you can count on the Lions, I think, for the beer tent. We have a steering committee, which Don Tremble is taking a senior role in, and he's already engaged with local contractors and suppliers to be providing us time and products at reduced costs or as in-kind donations. There is little doubt that the Heritage Bridge is a landmark in our community. We are asking that you, our elected West Grey officials, plant your stake by allowing the Durham West Grey Lions to develop this park area, and that the municipality of West Grey would accept this gift and upon completion continue to maintain the space. Questions?
Thank you very much, Pat. I can see that there's already been a lot of thought and work and design put into this. You've asked, are there any questions at this time from anyone? No questions is a good thing. Bev?
What is the walkway made of? Because it has to be wheelchair accessible, so what is your...
That's a really good question, and I didn't mention that in my speech, that our plans with interlocking brick have already been reviewed. Councillor Bell took our plans to the Accessibility Committee of Grey County and have been approved by them.
Okay, and that's the approach, both that side and the other side?
The side that we're doing is the side from just Garifaxia up to the bridge.
Okay, so you're not doing anything with the other side?
No, we haven't planned anything at this point.
Okay. Anything else? John?
Just real quick, thanks Pat for the presentation. You went to a lot of work and a lot of thought has gone in this, and you got some great people on board to make this happen.
We do.
Question, what's your timeline of when you would like to start and when you would like to finish?
That's a good question. We have the money available to us now to begin some excavation in the fall, so could really lay a solid foundation that would have time to have a winter. And that's our plan, to start in late fall, and we've talked with Brent about what would match with the maintenance and all of that, and to start in the fall, and then we would be starting this summer to raise money through Christmas and be ready for next spring to complete it. Yeah.
All right, anything else? Doug? Councillor Hutchison.
Yeah, Pat, thanks for your presentation. Exciting project for sure. It's something that I think will be a nice addition to the town of Durham once it's all said and done. Just a comment about the BIA festival that they're planning. One of the things that we'll have to do is have that designated as a significant event so that we can do beer gardens and whatnot. So that's something that we'll be talking to you people about in terms of the BIA. So still in the planning stage, but looks like it's going ahead quite well. So yeah, we look forward to working the BIA working with you guys in that event.
Great. Well, according to Greta and to Bonnie, their money fell into their laps, and Bonnie kept all her notes in a scribbler, which is not a word I'd heard since public school. And so we are really, really grateful to Peter Fallis, who kicked off this campaign with a $15,000 donation, which allows us to get started this fall. And we're hoping that other local businesses and people who want to see this part of Durham really take light after. I mean, the bridge is so gorgeous. It's such an investment that we're hoping that other people will follow suit from Peter's most generous donation and also the fundraising that's gone on. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Anything else? Rebecca, go ahead.
I've had all my questions answered already from the previous meetings, but thank you so much to the BIA and the Chamber that have jumped in and sponsored and been supportive. The Lions Group has really come together whenever we've provided a massive piece of infrastructure that's beautiful. We really on our own can't spend more money on that, but this is a great opportunity to partner with somebody where we together can do more. And I would look for us to direct staff to continue working on the project with the Lions Group. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. We could, if there's any further discussion or general, is there any thought or ambition to put forward a motion to continue working with the Lions Club on this project to see it to fruition? Rebecca would like to.
I would like to move that.
Mark might have something here. I'm not going to move it. So please. Yeah. Yeah. That would looks good.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves. Shall I move it? I move.
You move it and I'll read it. Yeah.
We got a seconder.
Yeah. We're not going to introduce it until we have a seconder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you want to move it, go ahead.
I'll sign it.
Yeah. Seems to be some excitement about getting this in place. Okay, as is procedure, we can introduce a motion from a delegation. Moved by R. Hergert, second by Bev Cutting. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby approves the proposed West Grey Durham Lions 2018 Legacy Project for the Durham Walkway Heritage Bridge in consultation with West Grey CAO.
And other staff or
It's a CEO direct from there.
And I think, yeah, that would be fine. The CEO will and can delegate. Yeah, all she's got to do is do the pointer. Any other comments, discussions on the motion? This time? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pat. And I think as somebody said that there's a few of those catch the ace, that might be one of the fundraisers that the Lions Club is looking to sponsor to help out with this type of a project. So very good. Thank you very much. Dan Nolan. I don't see him here. Was he coming for? Anyways, yeah, we do have a couple of other further delegations. There was one at 7:30 with Dan Nolan. And I don't know, Carrie, do you just want to check to see whether Dan's door is always open, so, no? If that's the case, we could bump up. Isabel, if you want to take that 7:30 time slot, or have you got more people coming for?
I think we did have other people coming
We can
because
carry on.
we could present what we have. And
Well, if,
we get half an hour instead of 15 minutes.
I didn't remember it being quite like that, the proposal. If you have other people coming, what we can do, we can go on and do a little bit of the staff, a couple of the staff reports, and wait until 7:45. And if those individuals get it.
Have only the one thing. It's not a big presentation.
Well, but if you have other people that are coming, we can wait until 7:40. We got stuff we can do, but it's up if you want to do it now or wait until those individuals do get here, give them the opportunity to be here while you present. Yeah. So how about we do that? We'll wait until 7:45. We'll go on with some of the, skip down to a couple of the staff reports, and at 7:45, we'll get you on. Now, I know there's no hockey game tonight, so, you know, it's not that big of a rush for Debbie and Tina to get home and watch the game or something of that nature. Okay. We'll get down to staff reports. Carrie and the treasurer's report is there. The first one is the voucher. I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that the Director of Finance Treasurer be authorized to pay the accounts presented as voucher number 9, 2018, in the amount of $497,272.97 of the Municipality of West Grey. Is there any comments, questions on anything that's in the accounts? At this point, seeing none, then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Carrie, anything else? I think that's it, Carrie. Very simple. Any questions of the director? Oh, no, we can still get her. There was a bylaw that'll be coming up on the fees. Any,
Fees, service and fees.
yeah, this,
Yeah, it's just updating we had discussed it during budget.
you want to turn your mic on?
We had discussed
Do
it
you want to leave it on? Thank you.
during the budget about increasing the fees for the summer camp and the swim program. So this is just the bylaw to get that approved before the program starts.
The only comment I have on that bylaw is it talks about town hall and if someone wanted to rent it, and then there's the nursery school fee for the day, so that doesn't really apply anymore,
We
right?
currently don't have a nursery school operating out of there. We
Right.
previously did, so, yeah, the only section that we actually changed on that schedule was the swim and camp
Yeah.
fees.
So I was wondering, is it redundant or not necessary to have that in there, or does that day fee apply for anybody else that would wish to come forward and pay the day fee?
Well, I think that
Holding.
was why I would recommend that we leave it in
Keep
there.
it there? Okay.
Somebody does want to start it back up. I mean, it ran out of the Durham Town Hall for decades. So there may be, you know, a thought of doing it again, so it's already in there for somebody that's doing some business planning if they wanted to go that way. Okay? Yep, all right. So if there's nothing else, that's all for Carrie. Okay, if that's the case, then let's go down and check out to see what Mr. Glacier has. And Brent, your report starts, 67, but there we are, the winter sand tender. Didn't we just finish winter? Brent, like what? We're gonna start thinking about it again. Get the sand in place so that we don't. If you have it in place, winter won't show up until January. That's a good thing. Yeah. If it's not there, it'll be here in September. Okay, so the tenders are there, and this is for filling the domes. For the first one, I have a Motion moved by Bev Cutting, second by R. Herger. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby awards tender WG 1809 for supplying, hauling, and placing winter sand, Part A, for a total of $22,410, Part B for a total of $17,835, and Part C for a total of $15,925 to Harold Sutherland Construction. Any questions or comments? Doug?
Maybe just a comment. It might be me, Brent, but if I look at your chart on your percent increase, if you look under Part C, Glenelg, this year Sutherland was 637, 2017 was 712. I think that's a decrease of 10.5% maybe then rather than an increase. It's just for clarification, but could be my math, but I think it went
I
down
think it's
instead
just
of instead
it's
of
just a
up.
typo in there. It should have been a minus sign put in,
That's
and
right.
we forgot to put
Negative.
that there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else on that? Very good. Then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That one's carried. All right. The next one is the surface treatment tender, and we have a fair bit of that work scheduled to happen this year. So I have a motion moved by John A. Bell, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby awards tender WG 10 for supplying, hauling, and placing surface treatment to MSO Construction Limited for a total bid of $306,409.80 plus HST. Any questions or comments on that? Go ahead, Rebecca.
Just a quick question. Where is this company out of, Brent? The MSO?
MSO,
Right here.
MSO are an affiliate now of Miller, the Miller
Okay,
Group.
great.
They are out of Brampton though. That's where the company comes from, but they're a sister parent company out of the Miller Group.
And for the most part, MSO, the ones that would be doing the work here, it was a takeover of basically the old Durham Stone and Paving. So a lot of those are local employees. Yep.
I guess one thing to note is the price increase over last year. The cost of AC has gone up, and with the fuel, the way it's been going, hence the reason for the increase. I was told it was coming.
Yeah, we had heard that down at the Good Roads OGRA convention, that prices this year, predominantly because of fuel, that was petroleum, oil
Yeah.
was going to be up. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Call the question in. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Any comments, Brent, on the thought that of when they might be here? MSO is scheduled to be doing some of that work?
The deadline in the tender, I believe I've got mid-August, so they're going to show up generally towards, I'm going to say between the last week of June or July. It's going to be sometime in July, I expect.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is favorable weather, dry weather conditions for that type of work.
Right.
Yeah.
And for a couple of days, there may be a small bit of dust created by that product going down.
Yes.
Okay. One more. Just for information there, was we sent out for tender on operational for rental equipment, quotations on some of the work that we're doing from local contractors around. It's there for what it is, fairly competitive again. Brent, there's no questions on that. Next one was on the Forest Creek Estates road name changes.
Yeah, Yes, Your Worship, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I made a small mistake on that one name.
Yeah?
They didn't want to change it. I said, if you're willing to wait, I'll see what council can do, but
So thoughts on that? We fine? Just going with, go ahead. and
Let's go ahead and make the change.
I think it
That's
has
what
to
the
wait.
developer wants, so
According to Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to wait a couple weeks for,
it's got to come back to
Yes,
the
we'll
next
have to
council.
give notice under the Municipal Act, notice a section of the draft minutes, and then post on the West Grey website that a new bylaw to approve the name change, road name change will be considered at the June 4th council meeting. So that will be so noted.
Okay? Just a matter, all right. Look forward to that bylaw coming forward with the S taken off of there. All right. The next one is from Brent, number 5. You had a complaint about safety issues on the access point on number 2. Basically, the bridge on the old County Road 3 or just off of 4, the old bridge road. It's there for information. It's been looked at, been discussed, and any other comments, Brent?
I was able to make a site visit today, Your Worship, and one of the things, and I don't know whose responsibility it is to maintain those canoe access points that are within West Grey. There's quite a bit of erosion that's developed over just this past year with the high water levels. I've noticed significant erosion. I did have pictures. Unfortunately, I can't show them to you, but there's not really much of a safe access to get down to the river anymore at that point. Like it's got to be a 5-foot drop from the top of the bank down to the river. That shore, that section of the sloped area is now gone. For quite a ways. There's about 200 feet there towards the east. That is quite a bit of that chunk of that river is washed away. So in that light, whose responsibilities are these canoe access points? Like
County and Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority.
it's the county.
It's a county bridge. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure because there's also refuse, garbage,
Oh, that's what that's what they
and
always-
things like that that I know we've had to go back and attend to in previous years, but because of the issue that's currently there right now, there's not a safe way to get down to that river from that point, and but anyways, I did not see any log jam in the river. I went up the river or looked both ways and actually went to the new bridge to look back. I don't know where the log jam is unless it's dislodged since.
Stream to the west. Yeah. We send them some
Unless
of that riffraff.
somebody mechanically dislodged it and it's gone.
Yeah.
But that was a case in point. I thought it was right at the old bridge. Again, it would have been a county issue. Had it would have been one of our structures, we would have gone in because that has a direct impact on the water flowing around the piers and can actually undermine the piers with the water flowing in, just like what happened in Chesley, but that sort of thing, and we would have taken responsibility to remove it. Again, I would have notified the county if that would have been the issue, but
Other comments, Bev?
Well, I was just going to say the Conservation Authority owns 15 feet from the edge of the river onto the land, so that's their property.
Well, that's
It's-
what they comment on, yeah.
Yeah, that's
their-
that's their responsibility, so
what happens if the riverbank continues to erode? Do they keep
it just
owning,
keeps going from the edge of the,
Yeah.
even if it's a surveyed property with an iron bar?
It's high, but it's their
It's
high
still-
water rate, and that's where they have the comment. yeah.
It's considered a safety area, so if somebody's in trouble on the river, they can get out without trespassing, so
Yeah.
it's all part of the
Yeah,
river.
okay, then I know who to contact. I'll let the county know that they're gonna have to take a look at that area then.
Yep. Because it's part of Gray and Bruce on that between the two counties on access, river access and tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll look at it that way. Doug?
Brent, were you on the Old Bridge Road today? I was there myself today on the
Yep.
south side.
I was on both sides. I went to the south
right-
side.
Yeah, and right there by where the access point is, there's a great big sign, and it says, this is your access point 2, and
Yep.
right in the bottom corner, it says Grey County, right? So, to me, if they're signing it, that's their responsibility. But there was an old fence line laying there in the ground, and there was a tree there, sort of thing, right? So, but to me, if the county's signing it, then it sounds like it's county doing it, right? So then it should be their responsibility, and they can work it out with conservation area without us necessarily getting involved in it, I would say.
We can be good neighbors and tell them they've got a problem. Let them worry about how they're going to fix it up.
Okay.
All right, good. All right, any other questions for Brent? Not at this time. Thank you, Mr. Glacier. Good report, and good comments on, I want to say, all of our spring gravel is down now, and the new compactors on the graders are working very well, and I've had comments from a number of people on that, so good work.
And
Comments to the staff and Tim.
calcium chloride starts tomorrow. It was supposed to start today,
Today. A little damp today for them to be doing that work, so yeah, I thought it was, seeing the graders out working again today for a little bit to touch up some spots to get ready for that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. I think we're just slightly over now, Isabel. I'm apologetic to you. We didn't get stopped at 7:45, but it's 7:48. If you're still with us, which you are, I'll ask you to make your delegation. The floor is yours.
Where do you wish me to stand?
Over at that podium would be great. And that way Adam can zero the camera right in on you. No, the podium. Go to the podium. Go to the podium, and, yeah, because you... Brent will help you with the mic there. Yeah. You got her turned on there, Brent?
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
Lynn McLeod.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, all the people who have come here tonight are all permanent residents off either Chester or College Street. We're all ratepayers, so we do have legitimate complaints. Now, our concerns are with the street parking in the area around the hospital and the medical clinic. The area surrounding the hospital is a residential zone with an additional 13 new houses that have been added to our neighborhood. Traffic has increased greatly with the construction of these new homes. As residents, we are pleased that you have initiated and are enforcing the no parking bylaw. The west hospital entrance is very hard for strangers to find, especially the panicky ones. There's no parking area in plain view from College Street. They get confused coming up that street. By restricting all street parking, we as residents have a concern and have what we feel is a reasonable resolution to your concern. Our concern is where can our family and friends park when they come to visit for a family function or a visit. We have come up with a proposal for your consideration. Our suggestion is to allow parking in the evenings, on weekends, holidays, and that the no parking rule be in effect from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday. If you as council find that our proposal is not a reasonable one, then we ask if you would consider the following. Perhaps you could widen the street in front of the hospital, taking the necessary land from the hospital property. During the winter time, the snow narrows this street. It causes great safety concerns, and possibly you could remove it oftener from the curbs. You ought to see the seniors trying to jump it. Make a circular entranceway to the hospital on the east side to be used as a drop-off zone with shortened time limits for a drop-off. We sincerely hope that our resolution can be found, that you can find a resolution that is fair to everyone concerned. We don't feel we're getting a fair deal, sorry. We have 2 other letters from people that have been submitted. Now, do you wish to hear them, or do you wish just to keep them on record?
I think we have,
You have some letters that have
Yeah, we
been
have-
submitted on their
I
own.
think we have
Well, these are in addition.
2 of them. I think we had one from the Wrights and one from, are those the 2 that you have?
No, I have one from people that have bought a lot over here in RJ resident in the new subdivision.
Okay, well, those are 2 that we haven't heard from, so if you want to introduce those, please go
Okay.
ahead, Isabel.
We have recently purchased a new home being built at Lot 1, 210 DJ Crescent. It has been brought to our attention that on-street parking in the immediate area around the hospital has been eliminated. This is of huge concern for us. With a limited number of parking spaces in our new driveway and in the driveways of Chester Street West and College Street, plus the people who refuse to pay the $3 parking fee at the hospital, these cars that normally park on the street are going to park back in our DJ Crescent. The lots are small. The parking is at a premium between the driveways. And why should we take the fallout from the new no parking bylaw? It's not what we purchased. We highly recommend that the town council consider limited parking on College and Chester West, one side only, to allow for emergency vehicles, snowplows. There are areas in this town with parking on both sides and very limited space there, preferably 24 hours, minimum evenings, weekends. And she recommends a snow route, but you already have that. We want homeowners and their guests to enjoy their experience in Durham. There are a great number of retirees in this town, and we want to be able to have their family, their friends, and support people drop by. If no parking is available, or the walk is way too long, or a ticket is issued, then this creates a very negative impression of the town. We trust you will consider the parking ban in the hospital area to make it more neighborhood, family friendly. And that is Brian and Jennifer Lang, which happens to be my daughter. And I have one here from Howard Page as well. His wife is here. Do you wish to hear it too?
Absolutely, yep. And then if we could have a copy.
This letter is to present my disapproval of the parking that has been put in place on College Street at the hospital and medical center. I wish that some of the people, or all of the people that are affected on the street, had been consulted about what they wanted before the no parking signs had been erected. My thoughts were that the parking should be no parking 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or at least no parking, oh, I'm not reading my own writing here. Should be no parking 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, or at least no parking that's a repeat. There has never been a problem with the parking on the weekends. In reality, parking has not been that bad a problem at any time other than people not obeying the signage that was there. The worst is in the winter when there are snowbanks out in the roadway and people park 2 to 3 feet out from the snowbank so they can get out of their vehicles, making the street very narrow for people getting in and out of the driveways. The remedy for this would be to remove the snowbanks at various times during the winter months. Now that we have put this in place, we as homeowners on the street have no place to park our family, our friends, when they're visiting or when they come for a party. Now with what you have put in place, you have created a safety hazard. There are now vehicles parked on both sides of Chester Street, just east of College Street, making for one-way traffic on Chester Street. With Chester being straight through, College being a stop street, one cannot see to the east when there are vehicles parked right up to the corner until one is right out into the intersection. There have been some close calls at this location. If not, they're going to be final. Someone driving through on Chester Street in a hurry, maybe even the ambulance, Someone cannot see them when you're pulling out from College Street. I myself stopped at this intersection in May of 2014. There was a large truck parked right at the corner. I had time trying to see if there was anything coming along Chester Street. I was driving a 3-ton truck. If someone was driving a small car, they would not have been able to see my car at the intersection. Like, that's really bad on Chester Street now. You just kind of weave through the cars. And I watched the ambulance go down there at high speed today, and it was not a good sign, what was going on there. Like, you've really got a mess now. So you've got to do something. And most of us on the street have single driveways, some have doubles, and we have a problem with people kind of borrowing our driveways. $3 seems to really be killing some of these people. And they could be
Yes.
driving a $60,000 car. Anyway, we're asking for consideration. We're willing to work with you to come up with a solution that we can live with. We do like to party on that street.
I've heard that, yes. Would you entertain a couple of questions if there is from council here? Doug, I think, Councillor
Yeah.
Hutchison.
Yes, Isabel,
Thanks,
thank you. You can understand that originally where we came from on that was the parking on College Street instead of using the hospital parking lot. And it's during the day when to go to the medical clinic. And that's sort of where we came from on that. Part of it is to try to get people to use the parking lot, but also to clear the roads so that the ambulance can get down there if need be. And now that we have that much more traffic because of the new 13 homes, you know, there was a lot of factors that went into our decision. I think there's room for us to negotiate some changes. I don't see a problem there, but unfortunately, I think some of the traffic jam you see now happening on Chester are still people that will not park in the parking lot, park on Chester, and walk to the hospital. I think if they're parking during the day. Is that not the case, do you think?
Yeah. Monday is your heaviest day, and there's something wrong with seniors. They must be first in line for the lab, so they start parking at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And there could be approximately 10, 12 cars parked down that street.
Yeah.
And right now, they're parking on the lower end of Chester Street now, and they're walking up there with their walkers in rain, in
Yeah.
everything.
That's right. And if they're, you know, fortunate enough, they may even be able to get in and out of the hospital in a half hour, and it costs them nothing if they use the arena or the hospital parking lot. So I know that's one of our concerns for sure, but I'm sure we can probably work something out, I hope.
Like, we've got to have something, because our other choice is parking on our lawn. And that's not agreeable either.
John, Deputy Mayor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Isabel, for your presentation. We'll have to definitely look at that. I was going to direct a question to the Director of Infrastructure. Brent, is there anything on the 5-year capital plan that would look at widening that street, or new paving done on that street, or anything going on?
First answer, no. That has been one of the things in the future that should be considered. Whenever that happens, that consideration be given to boulevard parking, similar to what we're doing with Bruce Street. I think that's, especially in an area with an institution such as the hospital, and places of worship, that's another thing. But regardless, I think but unfortunately, there's higher needs in the community that are going to outweigh that. So it's going to be, I think, a long time before we're back on that street to do any major capital work.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Rob, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, okay. Just to finalize that, so it's going to be, could be 10 years, it could be 20 years before anything's done, so, but we have a problem now. So by changing some signs, changing the bylaw, to resolve this issue can be done now. And I would you suggested, Isabel, that a couple of people in that neighborhood, 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. My suggestion would be 7, as you said, people line up at the door 7 o'clock in the morning for the lab. I would say 7 till 5, no parking, Monday to Friday, and no parking on the east side of Chester, and, the north side of Chester, and College would be the east side of College, where it was originally. Change on the west side to no parking Monday to Friday, because that's what the issue is at the lab. It's very simple, just to put in a little sticker on the bottom, no parking, and no parking signs there, Monday to Friday, 7 to 5. Alleviate all this problem. I know that it's going to be problems with people parking down on Chester right now and College and so on. The traffic jams in there, and it's not fair to the people that are moving into this new subdivision that you're parking in front of their homes and you got visitors coming and you're parking everywhere. It's very simple, and I'd recommend that we look at changing that sign. The sooner the better.
One more suggestion.
Yeah.
Please.
Your hospital is designed, basically, your back is at the rear end. And most hospitals have direct entrance at
To
the
the
front.
front.
Is there any way you can make an entrance exit going straight down that hill to number 4 highway that is used strictly for the hospital, coming up off number 4?
That is hospital
I know there is a
property.
hill there, but
Yeah,
you
that's
go
my
up and down
understanding.
Durham Hill every day.
That is Hospital Road. That's his property
That's the
down there.
hospital
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's something that can be
There are-
discussed with, but my suggestion is we change the no parking signs, and sooner the
Yeah,
better.
we're going to have to do that now.
Yes, and then we'll work on the other part of it. But I don't recall, and I could be corrected, and you know just well, I don't think there's any other street in Durham that limits the parking on both sides of the street. I don't think there is. I can't think of anyone. Albert Street, there's no parking except for Sundays for the Presbyterian Church area.
Baptist
And
Church.
they park there on Sundays, and you couldn't get a fire truck down there, so I don't, you
Just
know.
a minute, the church told us to get out, move it.
Yeah, so, but I don't know of any other street in Durham that has parking on both sides, no parking on both sides of the street. And it's not fair to the residents that have company coming, visitors, family, whatever, I don't care who you come, but you got no place to park.
And it's not fair that like a lot of our neighbors are very, very generous, and they say, we've got a double driveway, if you got company,
Yeah.
just use our driveway.
Yeah.
But that's not fair to be a pest to your neighbors.
No, and if you're there for 2 or 3 hours, maybe they want out for something and now they got to move vehicles. So I think we need to go back and change those signs and put no parking Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. till 5, no parking. And parking through the night or, you know,
Yeah,
except for
you can
winter
evening company
and weekends, and let the parking, yeah. That's just my thought. It's not fair for you not to have parking there.
Any other questions, comments?
Do you wish copies of these letters to be?
Yes, if we could, that would be great. Would love that, Isabel, for the record. And as this... Okay, that's great, thanks. May I suggest that options, I mean, one of the options that I've heard is working with the hospital as well, too, that the parking lot, every member around, or every resident around has an access pass to the parking lots, whether it's in the front one. Well, then if you don't need the parking, I get, you know, what are we talking about, Deb or Lynn? Oh, I know what they've got. But for that, you know, on College Street, one of the thoughts is in front of the medical clinic, and I think that's for doctor parking or something like that, rarely used, and for some of the staff, rarely used on the weekends, that could the arm be up? And that would
Disability people, especially, it's easier to get into the hospital.
well, the easiest point of access into the hospital is around on the back. When we discussed it with, not only with the hospital, but certainly with Grey County EMS, it was on that 6 months of the year or 5 months, whatever it is in the snowbanks, it's not as much about the hospital parking and parking for medical clinic patients or customers, but it's for that ambulance to get down. And in the last year, last winter, there was at least 3 times where the ambulance got partway down, there's a van or somebody coming up, and the ambulance had to reverse and go back out and down College. That, to me, that's not good. That's our concern. How do we, eliminate that? And as you said, now eliminating it off of College Street, what the individuals are doing, and maybe it's good for the health of the community that they have to walk further. They park down on Chester and are blocking Chester Street off if the ambulance is going straight through and turning at the Legion, turning right and going on 4 instead of coming out on 4 and heading west. I'm going to suggest that we put this together and see what we can come up with. I wouldn't think of putting a resolution through or accepting a resolution tonight on, is it 8 to 5 or 7 to 6 or 7 to 7 or Saturdays and Sundays and holiday Mondays, but we will take a look at it. Doug, final comment.
Yeah, I think it would be important to keep no parking on the hospital side of all the way around, like on College and on Chester, but on the resident side, then maybe we can make some allowances for, like Rob said, 7 to 5 or whatever. But I think there creates another issue, which you said, and that is parking on Chester Street, that maybe we have to make it no parking during the day also, because Chester Street and College Street are the 2 accesses for the ambulance, right? So they have to get through, and they can't afford to afford to not be able to get through there. So maybe we do the same thing on Chester Street, and it's unfortunate some people now are going to have to either walk further or they're going to have to use the parking lot, one or the other. But I agree. I have seen them park right at the corner there, cars parked right at the corner on Chester, and then walk to the hospital for the sake of $3. Yeah, unfortunate.
One thing that's not out there, have spoke to the hospital or some of the staff, you can get, one comment was, well, if I go 3 or 4 times for lab work and whatnot a week, now you're costing me $12-15 a week. Exactly, you can get a monthly pass. That is not something that is well known out there, that I don't know whether it's $20 or what it is for a monthly pass that gets you through for the month. And I understand that that's what the staff, because the staff that are parking around the back, they have to pay. It's not a freebie for them. There are a few of them that push the envelope, yes, or use some neighbors that are around there and park in their drive. But the point is, that one, there are passes. I think and we've got to work with the hospital. The one that gets me is where the old entrance was, in front of the lab. It's paved and it's still, the lines are getting a little faded, but there's no access into it. I mean, it's non-existent in use. Is there something with the hospital that we can work with them as well too? We've reached out to them, but I haven't heard back as of yet of what they can do to help us out as well. And your thought, I've never heard of that one, having an entrance into the parking lot right off of 4, just up that little hill there. They do own that property. That's what I understand, yes. Yep. So it would take, putting an access down through there.
That means your ambulance could go out that way and have absolutely no interference.
And maybe that's what it is an exit only out that way or something of that nature for ambulances. But let us, we've addressed it. Let us take it to committee of the whole, find what are some options here. In the summertime, we got another 3 weeks or a month to get to summer, but it is the time, and it's not as safety issue as it is when we get into those winter months. Whichever side of the street you park on, you know, one car parking, I think as you said, a couple of feet out from the snowbank, now it's one-way traffic down there. That's what it's been this last little while, and that's, for an ambulance, that's, yep, and we're very thankful of that, and let's see if there is a consensus to come up with a good option. Appreciate it. Okay? We don't like what you do with that. I think everybody knows where we all live, so yeah, that's not an idle threat. I understand that. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, and you have our regards. We'll try and work something out here to make it work for everybody. Thank you. Okay. Second for everybody to clear out. What are we down to? All right, I think that's Brent's report done up. And must be down to Mark's, down to the clerk's report. So Mark, first one is you're seeking direction on a letter from the town of Oakville.
Yes, as stated, I am seeking council direction on this issue regarding CN truck rail developments and any regulatory role that the Halton municipalities are hoping to have, and they're seeking the provincial approval or support of that.
What are comments, thoughts? Bev is saying receive for information. We have a trestle, but railways, something of the past in rural Ontario. This is, Oakville's more of an urban problem. Doug?
My only thought is maybe someday, do you think we'll ever see a high-speed rail line going from Owen Sound via the walkway trail that runs through Dundalk and Shelburne? So I don't know if this would come into play, but not likely.
With a spur line going off to the town of the Blue Mountains?
Yeah.
If we're being hypothetical, I don't think rail is for transportation. As I said it a couple of times here, you know, horizontal is not where we're going to be in 20 years' time. It's going to be vertical. So, you know, for, you know, personal transportation, I believe. Stand to, hopefully I'm around to watch to see what happens in 20 years where we're at. But, yeah, moving industrial or commercial rail may be the way, but up here, I'm through Grey County, I'm not so certain that we will see it. Any other thoughts? Councillor Cutting is received for information, and not so much, not supporting it, but just receive for information and be nice with that. Direction on that, Mark? That's good? Okay, if everybody is fine with that one. Second one, Mark, is West Grey Storage Building at Vickers Park.
Yes. So this matter was discussed at the West Grey Committee of the Whole Planning meeting on May 14th, and there's some further up work by myself. I did contact Steve Earhart, the West Grey Public Works Utilities Supervisor, to get his opinion, and he did actually after our initial discussion, he followed up with an email today indicating in his opinion to leave it for storage now, what he calls the Vickers Garage, as it is too good to tear down by just gaining one parking spot. If council wants to tear it down, it can be done, however. So he's recommending to retain it because it's still in fairly good shape, and it would possibly only create one parking space anyway.
I suggest we just leave it for now. It's not an urgent matter, I don't think, so I think we should, if it is just one spot, I mean, maybe it won't make any difference whatsoever, so.
Is it, I mean, the other factor on this was that access roadway down there. by removing, I didn't know whether it was as much the parking spot, but putting the roadway back onto our property. Because there's that access road goes down the back through there, and for the most part, I understood it was on our property until it gets into where that development's proposed, and then it kind of takes a bit of a jog. Rebecca? And, yeah, it's a right-of-way, but the right-of-way, is it supposed to be on our property, the municipal property, as it goes down in there, but you did notice where the property line is, it cuts over onto the private property at the back there. You know, but I don't know how it's registered, really.
Yeah, I don't know the registration.
Yeah.
Shed would be here, right? Shed would be around here, not the road lines.
Yeah, but the picture we had was that, you know, this little access that goes down in here it cuts in over here to go around the shed.
Straight through.
Yes, but it's supposed to go straight through, exactly. But where the shed is,
Oh, I see.
it has to cut onto the back of these properties because of the shed.
Did you see the picture?
What? Yeah. Yeah, you see what the picture is, what the reality is, what the draft or what the surveyed is that's what it's supposed to be, but where it actually is, it cuts around and goes onto that private property.
Obviously, it goes right back there. Like, there's still lots of access there.
Yeah, there appears to be enough access. Now, looking at the GIS mapping, of course, it always is skewed somewhat, but
That's aerial.
the mapping with the aerial and with the other, you can see some other vehicles, it doesn't seem to protrude much, if any, further than the vehicles themselves.
Right.
And it looks like there might be sufficient access, but without a survey, that would be rather difficult to determine.
In fact, this vehicle was out farther than the shed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, let's look
but
into it a
that
little
pushes, but that's what I'm saying, it pushes it, is it onto that property or is it on that municipal right-of-way? Councillor Thompson, I've talked to
I'm
you.
just wondering what the structure's like. Has anyone looked at the condition of that building? And
Yeah, Steve said it's in good shape.
no, I know, but is anybody from the building department or anybody that has any knowledge on the building condition?
What's a
What I'm
storage
suggesting,
shed?
I know, all it is full of peat moss. But anyways, there's other places that store peat moss, but I'm just wondering if the structure's good, and what would it cost us to have it moved out of there and taken down to the old county building site, or where the new building is, as storage? What it would cost to have that done?
Yeah,
If
instead
it's
of
worth.
tearing it down.
Yeah, I
Still
wouldn't
have
tear it down. If
storage.
it's a good building, then why not transport it down? And if we can get that done at a reasonable price.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor Bell, John, did you have a comment?
You know, along that line, I think we should get it out of there to facilitate some parking for the merchants on Main Street. And I mean, if it's blocking our roadway, let's move it because it's not needed. We've got the county building now. We've got a brand-new building down there to store stuff. Let's utilize that and get this out of the road. But if you want to transport it, okay. I think that might be a little costly, but either way, I want to get it out of there.
What's the best way?
Okay. I think,
To move it, or?
let's ask staff to get a bit of a quote from somebody to move it, if it is a worthwhile building, and I'm pretty sure it's just on slab in there. There's no foundation or any basement to it. And as I said, and the other concern is where that access road goes. Like, if it's part of it that it's moving onto private property, and, because I mean, on the survey, you see that it's supposed to go straight down behind those buildings, as it always is, but sometimes where the survey was and where the road, we come up with those every once in a while. Okay?
That's it for my report.
All right, anything else, Mark?
No, that's it.
Any other questions of Mr. Turner? No? All right, thank you, Mark. I don't believe the CAO has a report today. Getting off. You want a couple of minute, just a 2-minute break? How about we go for 5, because you're going to stretch 2. I know you'll never make it in 2, Bev. We'll take a 5-minute break. Call the meeting back to order. Thank you. We'll start into bylaws, which we have about 6 tonight, Mark. And starting with bylaw number 58, which is to amend the West Grey Committee and Procedural Bylaw. So I have a motion moved by Rob Thompson, seconded by John A. Bell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 58, 2018, being a bylaw to amend West Grey Council Committee's procedural bylaw number 20, 2018, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions, comments on this? Rebecca?
I have one comment. Nothing to change anything that's here, but actually just asking staff that if Friday afternoon, whenever the agenda is sent, could one be printed off and here in the lobby for anybody to check into, refer, look at, so on. We all know connectivity can be an issue, so we don't want any internet problems or people can't access, but if Friday afternoon an agenda could just be placed out in the lobby for review. Doesn't really even affect this, but that was another consideration under the same procedural bylaw.
We do have a number of agendas available that are printed. Somebody in the audiences regularly picks one up on a Friday.
So, yep, that's doable. Okay. Anything else? All right, call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Sorry. Bylaw number 59 was on the fees, was the one that we spoke about with Carrie before she left. I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by Ara Herger. Be resolved that bylaw number 59, 2018, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 60, 2017, being a bylaw to establish fees and charges for certain services provided by the Municipality of West Grey, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions or comments on this? Was recommendation that we set those fees for the summer programs and facilities around those. Okay, no questions? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. All right. Thank you. Bylaw number 60 is a site plan control agreement that was recommended by the Planning Committee for approval and for the bylaw to be in front of council. So I have a motion moved by John A. Bell, seconded by Doug Hutchison. Be it resolved that bylaw number 60, 2018, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to enter into a site plan control agreement between the Municipality of West Grey and Trevor Bruce Gilkson, owner, and Donald Oliver Smith, mortgagee, on lands described as Part Lot 5W of Queen Street, Part Lot 500 Durham, in GS 10-10827, West Grey, PIN 371317-0359, lot. Be now read first, second, and third time. Passed and numbered, and that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Sorry, land title, not lot. Thank you, Mark. Yes. PIN number was land title. Mark, comments?
So this, the site plan agreement bylaw was reviewed by the municipal solicitor and the municipal planner, who have both recommended approval with some amendments, the main one being the addition of Mr. Smith as a mortgagee holder. As a mortgagee, there is a mortgage on the property, so that mortgagee has to be listed on that agreement. So Mr. Gilkinson has indicated that Mr. Smith is aware of that, and he's supportive of signing the agreement. So,
very good. Okay. Any other questions on this? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. Thank you, Mark. The next one is a site plan control, and this one as well on Normanby property with Park Ridge Lifestyle Communities, and it was recommended to enter into this agreement from the Planning Committee as well, too. It's moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by R. Herget. Be it resolved that bylaw number 61, 2018, being a bylaw to establish a site plan control area within the limits of the corporation of the municipality of West Grey on lands described as LT 32-35, concession 3, Normanby, okay, STR 348971, West Grey, PIN 37296-0124, LT, Park Bridge Lifestyle Communities, Inc., be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Mark, comments?
This site plan agreement has been reviewed by the municipal solicitor, the municipal planner, and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. There were some minor amendments again, such as the proper legal name, and all three have signed off on it.
Okay. Any other comments on this? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried.
Oh, sorry.
What else did you need, Mark?
That's my mistake, sorry. That was the site plan control area bylaw. I was speaking to the site plan control agreement, which is next.
Oh, okay. Still with the same corporation. It's bylaw number 62, moved by Doug Hutchison, seconded by Rob Thompson. Be it resolved that bylaw number 62, 2018, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and the clerk to enter into a site plan control agreement between the municipality of West Grey and Park Bridge Lifestyle Communities, Inc. on lands described as LT 32-35, concession 3, Normanby, STR 358971, West Grey, PIN 37296-0124, LT, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. And as Mark said, those comments that he had previous weren't on the site plan control, were on the site plan agreement. All right, any questions or comments on the agreement? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Yes. All right. And you see David is writing down there that those two bylaws, and you'll let your clients know that they were passed. Thank you, David. And bylaw number 63 is the confirming. So I have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by R. Be resolved that bylaw number 63, 2018, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the May 22nd, 2018 council meeting, be now read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered, and that the said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and be engrossed in the bylaw book. Any questions on this motion? Call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. All right, there you are. New business. Bev, you had one thing to bring forward. C1 was on the motion.
Yes, I
Would it-
wanted
yeah.
to bring forward the recommendations from the West Grey Parks Committee to declare Saturday, June 16th as official Garden Day in West Grey, and also to declare Monday, June 18th to the 24th, the West Grey Pollinator Week. These are both provincial, this is not just West Grey, this is done through the province. So we'd like to sort of join in. The West Grey Garden Day is to be the official opening of the Plant a Row, Grow a Row project that we had the presentation for, and the gardens, like we had said, are going to be, well, they've been built and donated by a number of people. The wood's been donated by some, et cetera, et cetera. So, and it's in partnership with the food bank, Durham Food Bank, that they will get a portion of the things that are grown and vegetables, et cetera, and they're very excited about the project. So we would like to, I have a couple of motions here, Mr. Mayor, if you would.
Okay. Is there any questions under this new business before we introduce these direct motions? None? Okay. Any other new business? Very good. Addendums, notice of motion or direct motion. Bev has 2 direct motions, and we'll need a 2/3 majority to introduce the 2 direct motions, one on Garden Days and one on Pollinator Week. Call all those in favor of introducing the 2 motions. That's by far got our majority. 2/3 is what is required, so I'll say that we have that. First motion is on Garden Days, moved by Bev Cutting, second by R. Herger. Whereas Garden Days will educate ratepayers in the municipality of West Grey about the community's garden culture and history, the importance of public and private gardens, the values of home gardening, the health, well-being, and aesthetic benefits of gardening, and the promotion of environmental stewardship. And whereas Garden Days will be an opportunity for new and seasoned gardening enthusiasts, families, schools, and tourists alike to go out into their own garden, visit a local garden or garden center, or travel to a community to share their knowledge and passion for gardens and gardening. And whereas Garden Days will celebrate our community's garden culture and heritage and our local horticultural business community. Be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby proclaims the day of Saturday, June 16th as official Garden Day in West Grey. Comments? Go ahead, Bev.
There will be an official opening that day of the Plant a Row, Grow a Row, but we don't have the time set yet, but we'll certainly let you know. We can put it on the website when the time's there. And
Okay. Just trying to think, and I do know that the Hospital Foundation has a fundraising activity on that day, but I think it starts at noon. Yeah, Touch a Truck is another one that's on that day as well, too.
so
No,
depending
it
on
is.
times, we can work around that. It's only a
The Touch a Truck,
10-minute.
Touch a Truck is at, very close to this
Yes,
facility,
exactly,
so, yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments on Garden Days? Call the question, all those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. All right. The next one is West Grey Pollinator Week. Have a motion moved by Bev Cutting, seconded by R. Herget. Resolved that the Council of the Municipality of West Grey hereby proclaims the week of June 18th to 24th, 2018 as the West Grey Pollinator Week. Any questions or comments on this? Bev?
There are pollinator gardens that are in each community, and that pollinator week, Monday, the opening of the butterfly landing up garden will be in Ayton on Monday. Tuesday will be Neustadt, Wednesday will be Elmwood, and Saturday will be Durham. But further times, et cetera, we expect the mayor to be there and he can get stung.
Do you think this is a new thing? Any other comments on this? Where does the Pollinator Week originate? Is it a provincial organization?
It's
Or
provincial-wide, yeah. It's a provincial-wide organization.
it's endorsed by some of the province, but
Yeah.
doesn't it come out of this, isn't it an American?
Oh, it could be originally, it could be, I don't know where it originated.
Thinking, but, so everybody's aware. There is, or has been, a lot of conversation about pollinators and lack of or decline in or anything, but This would help us out. Any other questions, comments on declaring this? Is there any financial commitment from the municipality on this, other than
Just you showing up to,
the mayor needing some Benadryl when he comes to this activities?
no, there's no financial commitment.
Okay, we don't have to fly.
These are existing gardens that are being,
Yeah.
other pollinators, plants put in, so it's not, they're not creating.
Yeah, it's not creating the gardens. John?
Okay, so with that, then they're already existing, and are they Parks Gardens, or who
Yes,
looks
they're
after them?
Parks gardens that are already in existence, so.
Rebecca?
Sorry, I guess I thought last year when we did the planting of the maple tree that there was discussion, particularly in Ayton, that there would be a pollinator garden back behind the arena and that would be a new garden. Is that the case? Or, I'm sorry, I guess
I'm
I'm
not sure where
not
the one in Ayton is going. That hasn't, I'm not sure it's been decided exactly in Ayton where it's going. It could be one that's actually like already existing, that they've just to add more flowers to.
Okay, so if it's existing, where's that at?
I don't know where it's going to be in Ayton. I'm not sure. I don't have the designation. I know Newstat, they're talking about the Lions Club, or the Lions Park, rather, that entrance.
For
There's a little
Newstat or
park-
Ayton?
In Newstat, sorry,
Okay,
in Newstat, there's that. In Durham, it's going to be out by the tennis courts.
Okay.
So there's a few, but I'm not sure in Ayton. I can't remember. Oh.
See, because I thought that was actually going to be a new one last year. That was the discussion. And so then at that rate, I guess there is some financial implication. I don't know how many flowers. I mean, are we dandelining it? You know, are we using
It'll be
dandelions?
stuff that's being divided and moved from other gardens.
Okay.
So they won't be purchasing of plants. Things like echinacea and stuff get divided down and they get so huge, eh? So they're talking about dividing, and they're also talking about having people donate plants. So in your, I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. Nothing else, then I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. Okay. That should be it for that closed session, Mark. I don't believe we have any need for any more closed session. Question period. Is there any questions on tonight's agenda?
I'm just patiently waiting for good stuff to come.
Well, this would be a time for good stuff for you to bring up, Bob.
Yeah, plan is first.
For the planters, for looking at all the good flowers that are coming. Okay.
I've got a big greenhouse.
So are you asking a question about Happy Materials?
No, not really.
What I can say is, yes, we signed the MOU with CanAssist, a medical marijuana company, corporation that is in the midst of building one of their production facilities in Kapuskasing. We look forward to, and they've chosen other municipalities, up to 5 they want to work with. We're one of those other 4. At the present point, I think there's only 3 that they're talking with to start the public process on acceptance and understanding of what the business model that they're proposing here in West Grey. I don't believe that you'll be able to order any of the product from CanAssist West Grey, locally grown, Bob, for any of your wrist problems, medical issues, till well into maybe the end of 2019, but probably into 2020 before we get up and growing.
Well, that would be handy for those who hear of them.
Yes, it will be handy for those that are here. Okay? Any other questions? Anyone? Sue? Sue Papineau.
Yeah, this is here. Website or, I know that there's an American one, but I'm not aware of an Ontario or a Canadian one. That'd be interesting to look into. I don't have the website here, but I can certainly get it for you.
Okay, you can email that to me, I'd really appreciate it. And will the Garden Days event be posted on the Garden Days website as a proclamation?
Pardon?
Will the Garden Day event be posted on the Garden Days website as a proclamation from the municipality of West Gray?
Yes,
A signed proclamation?
because it's proclaimed, right, so. we can
Yeah,
get it on
we'll
the
find it
website.
where it's supposed to go. Yes.
Yep,
Yep.
thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Okay. Get both of those. All right. If there's no other questions, and I don't think, no, we don't have any municipal act notices, Mark?
Yes, I will be putting on the, a notice regarding the proposed renaming of the road at Forest Creek Estates, the former Lemco subdivision. So that will be added in the draft minutes under that notice section and on the West Gray website.
Okay. Just checking to see if you were there with me. Thanks, buddy. Okay. And that's it for notice of motions. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Rebecca, seconded by Bev. All those in favor? That is accepted. We'll stand adjourned until June 4th, I believe it is, Mark, or at the call of the mayor if it needs to be special.